us closer, meadows of our youth.
Hello, hi. Hope all of you are doing good. From the title, you would have understood what this video is about. Yeah, it's about vaccination, and I took my first dose 2 days back. By the way, right now I am at the Riverside Park, and I am right now staying here at the Sandman Signature. I will cover the details of why I moved from the apartment to the hotel Sandman Signature, and all other details on that in the next video. So this video is very specific to the vaccination. I thought I'll cover the process that I went through to get the first dose, right? So before I get into the process and which vaccine I got exactly, let's share some thoughts into some of the vaccines that are available. So as you I mean most of you know, I mean we do have Pfizer, which is from the BioNTech, and then we have Moderna vaccine, then we have the Sputnik, which I think was the first one, isn't it? And then we have the Novavax, isn't it? Then we have the Janssen from Johnson and Johnson, I believe, and then we have, of course, the AstraZeneca from Oxford. So each of these vaccines have different efficacy rates. So the efficacy rates for each of these vaccines that are published by them are based on the study they have done, or the clinical trials actually that they have done on thousands of people, right? So the efficacy rates, the highest ones like the 95, Pfizer and Moderna and even Sputnik has rates of efficacy rates of around 95%, 94 and 92, and then Novavax has around 89%, and AstraZeneca and Johnson has around 67 and 66%. Out of all these vaccines, all of these has two doses except for the Johnson and Johnson, which I believe is a single dose one, right? But now we spoke about efficacy rates, and Pfizer, Moderna and Sputnik having 90 plus efficacy rates. So let's say an efficacy rate of 95% doesn't mean that vaccines given to 100 people, and out of that 100 people 5 people again getting the symptoms for COVID. No, instead the efficacy rates is an individual term, which would mean that if I have got vaccinated, then I will only have 5% of chances of again getting infected. Yeah, so that's about the different vaccines that we have, the efficacy rates for each of these vaccines. So let's talk about a condition that we were going through, the initial stages of COVID-19, where we don't have any vaccine at all. So what happens in those cases? So when someone gets in contact with COVID-19 patient, some of the people won't show any symptoms at all. Some of them show moderate symptoms, some show severe symptoms and end up in hospital, and some of those cases results in death. So that's how without the vaccine it works. So with vaccine, what we are really expecting is to get rid of the last three terms, that is the severe symptoms, hospitalization, and mainly the death cases. So in that way, one should be happy to take whatever vaccine that's available in their area. But being said that, some of the vaccines has reported side effects. Let's say AstraZeneca. So there are reports about blood clots in some of the people that's administered. So knowing that, I mean, in my case, when I went for vaccination, my biggest worry was, are they going to administer me an AstraZeneca vaccine? So I was prepared to walk walk off if they are going to give AstraZeneca because of the side effects, not that it has a less efficacy rate or because of any other reason, because all these vaccines are in the market, are out because they are good against the COVID. They are good to give you the immunity to resist the COVID-19 virus. So all these vaccines are good in that way, but some of these vaccines has its own side effects. So that's something that we have to be really careful about. And since there are reports about AstraZeneca, so I was a bit worried about it. The question one should really be asking is about which vaccine will keep you out of the hospital, which vaccine will help you keep alive, and which vaccine will help end this pandemic. And the answer to all these three questions are all of these vaccines that are out. Okay, I think that was a long talk about different vaccines, the efficacy rates, and other things. But the main thing is like all of these vaccines are good to bring down the end the pandemic. So that's the important thing. Okay, so now let's talk about the process that I went through to register here. So this will be the process that is applicable for BC province. I'm not sure about. I mean, there will be different process for other provinces, but this is the one that's here in BC. British Columbia, right? So there are three ways one can register for getting a COVID vaccine in BC. The first one is an online registration. The second one would be through by making a call to a toll-free number, and the third one will be by visiting any of the Service Canada offices. So the least preferable would be going to a Service Canada office to get the registration done, because you don't have to waste so much time. You don't have to go through all the pain of going to the Service Canada office when an online registration and over the phone registration is available, isn't it? Now for an online registration, I mean, when you say online registration, you are going to a URL, you're going to their website, and you will enter your details, and that's how the registration is done. So for an online registration, you should be having your personal health number. So without the personal health number, the online registration is not possible. So in that case, that is, if you don't have the personal health number, then you should be going for the registration over phone. So when you register online, some of the details that you go to enter would be your name, the first and last name, your date of birth, the postal code where you're residing, your personal health number, like I said, and your email address and the mobile number, because they will ask you for the preferred communication way of communication, which will be either your email or your through text message. So in my case, I didn't have a personal health number. Now let's keep the process for vaccination, registering the vaccination aside, and talk about health, getting personal health number, because that is important, isn't it? So when you travel, I'll explain my case. So when I traveled from India to here, I had an insurance in place which was given by TRU. My insurance was from GuardMe, and I got the policy number and the document from my ISA, which is the International Student Advisor, right? So he's the one who will help you with the initial insurance, and that insurance is valid for 3 months, 90 days. So after this 90 days, you are no more covered under GuardMe, and you should go for the BC provincial health insurance. And by default, everyone should be registered under the BC insurance plan, which is the MSP, that is called Medical Service Plan. And for students, so I did register for MSP much before my GuardMe insurance expires, but what happened is, when I registered for MSP, I didn't give my suit number. So without the suit number, what happens is, the Canada Post people, they will keep the letter in a general area, and we usually won't check the general post, because the general post will belong to those who have vacated from the apartment and have moved to some other apartment. So we usually go and check the the post box for your suit. So I was checking that and I never got that. So when I called them, they said the suit number is not mentioned, and that could be the case. So I have changed the address now, and hopefully I should be getting the card in a few days. But since I didn't had the MSP card with me, I didn't had my personal health number, so it was not possible for me to register through online, right? So I had to go for the over the phone registration. Now talking about MSP, which is the insurance for students, who for those who are on study permit, you have to pay. There is a fees of monthly $75, which you got to pay. So that fees will start from the 90 days. For the first 90 days, it is your whatever insurance that is given by the university. The fees for that is already covered in the student fees, tuition fees. After that, from the 91st day on, you will be covered under MSP, and if you are in a study permit, you will have to pay a monthly fees of $75. Right, I hope that's clear. And this is only applicable, the fees is only applicable for students. I think it was applicable for the PR holders and the citizens as well before, but starting Jan 2020, I think for PR holders and for citizens, they don't have any fees for the insurance, but for students we still have to pay $75. So I just got a letter saying that my MSP fees for the last 2 months is due, which is $150. So I have to make that payment, right? So that is about MSP and the personal health number. So when you get the MSP card, you will get the personal health number as well. But for registering for vaccination, the personal health number was a must, and I didn't have that, like I said. So I had to go for the over the phone registration. When I called them, so there is a toll free number. The toll free number is 1-833-838-2323. So that's the number. I'll mention the link where you can register for the vaccination and this toll free number in the description, so that you can make use of that. So when I called there, I told them that I don't have a personal health number and I want to register for vaccination. By the way, vaccination for 18 plus was open from I think mid of April, and me being at 40, obviously I was eligible for getting vaccinated, right? So on the call, the first thing before registering me for the vaccination, what they have done is they took my details to help me with the personal health number. So for that, they asked me about some of the basic details, and then they got a personal health number and shared that personal health number with me and said that will be my personal health number, PHN, all the way till the time I am in BC, right? So it is important to make a note of that. And I think when I get my health card, that number will be there in the health card as well. I haven't got the health card yet, right? So it is not necessary for you to have a health card in hand for you to register for vaccination. Next, once they created a personal health number for me, they took some more details, like I said, the name, date of birth and other things, and registered me for the vaccination. So that is the first step towards getting vaccination. So there are 3 steps for getting vaccination. First thing is registering, second is booking an appointment, and the third one is going and getting vaccine. So the first step is done for me over the phone. That is, they registered me for the vaccination and they shared confirmation number, and I preferred the communication as a text messages. So I got a text message with the confirmation number for my vaccination, and they asked me to wait for further communication from them, which will be they said in a couple of weeks, and rightly they said, I mean, in 2 or 3 weeks I got a confirmation, another text message saying with a link, saying that now you can go ahead and book for your appointment. And I followed the link that was provided in the text message, and I could choose a vaccination center near to me, near to the place where I was staying in Kamloops, which was TCC, the Tournament Capital Center. So that was just 15 minutes walk from the place where I am staying. So I mean, dates were available, so I booked, I mean, I had to wait for a 2 weeks time or something, and then my appointment was at 4:30. I went a bit early, went around 4 or so. I tried filming the process, but then at the security, he said, like, taking any photographs or filming is strictly prohibited inside, so that was no way possible. Hello, hi.
Vaccination?
Yeah,
You have an appointment?
yes.
The thing is, like, they aren't allowed with pictures inside.
Okay. So the steps that I followed there was, the first thing that they ask you is, do you have an appointment? And if yes, they will let you in. And once you are in the next booth, they will ask you for your health card. I said I don't have a health card, but I do have the personal health number. So they were okay with that, and you just have to have a ID card. In my case, I had the BC ID card. So before I got my BC ID card, I was always carrying, like, in my one of my videos I said, like, I had to carry my passport, but now since I have my BC ID card, I can safely keep my passport at home, and I only have to carry my ID card. So yeah, so the health number and the BC ID card was good enough for them to let me go to the next booth. So in the next booth, the person gave me a couple of flyers. The flyers had all the information about some of the after effects of vaccination, which is like mild fever, body aches, and they have also mentioned the medication that you should take in case if you get any of those symptoms. And they also, I mean, there was also a mention about the AstraZeneca vaccine. They have mentioned, like I said, administering the vaccine, AstraZeneca had resulted in blood clots for some, and in Canada they have completely stopped giving AstraZeneca vaccine. So that was good news for me. So I checked, I asked him, like, which vaccine they are giving, and he said Pfizer, and I was really happy. So that was the second booth. And the third booth, I mean, it was really organized. I mean, everything was organized. Yeah, one of the things that is to mention is, like, the people there, the staff, who are the volunteers who are guiding you, are the nursing students at TRU. So that's a good thing, isn't it? So yeah, so it was all organized. The third booth that you go there, again they just ask you to wait. The doctors were sitting, like, doctors or nurses, they were sitting, like, 4 to 5 meters away. So it's a big stadium, isn't it? The Tournament Capital Center is a big stadium, wherein you have, so they have taken, wherein you have a pool, gym, all kind of sports activities, other things. So they have taken a portion of that stadium, converted completely for the vaccination purpose. And Yeah, so that's why they were giving the vaccination. So yeah, so then I went to the next booth wherein they took my BCID card. They could fetch my personal health number from the BCID card itself, and they gave me a immunization report card which had wherein they have mentioned the type of vaccine that's given, that is Pfizer in my case. They have dose 1, dose 2 columns. So in under dose 1 they mention the day, time, etc., and then you have to wait for the doctor. So it was just a 1 minute wait, and then I went to the doctor. The doctor was again really friendly. I mean, he asked me about any allergies that I have, arthritis, and any other things. Yeah, one other thing that they commonly ask is how you traveled anywhere outside, how you got into contact with any of the anyone who was infected with COVID virus. So those are the things that some of the other questions that they were asking. Right. So the doctor was, like I said, very friendly, and he said, fever and body aches are some of the after effects, but otherwise you should be okay. And he said, if you get, breathing problems, then that wouldn't be, because of the vaccination, and that could be a totally different scenario, and the reason for that could be that you are infected by COVID virus. So in case if you get breathing problems, then you have to go and consult a doctor. So that is the only thing that he said, and then he administered the vaccine. Totally painless it was. I was worried, actually, tensed a bit, not because of the injection as such, but because of the many talks about this vaccine. So I was worried a bit what will happen after the vaccination. After the vaccination, they have a observation period for 15 minutes. So everyone who gets vaccinated there is an observation area. So you have to go there and sit. Again, a huge area in front of you. There is a huge digital clock, so you can monitor the time, and every chair that we are sitting is cleaned, is wiped, is sanitized after a person moves. So you have to keep the chair, you have to turn the chair when you step out of the, when you are done, when your waiting period is over, and when you're moving out. So everything, like I said, I really loved the way they have organized it, they have planned it. I really wanted to film the whole process, but it was not possible. I will try to share a YouTube link wherein they have covered some of the process at the TCC, how the vaccination is being given. So I'll try to post that. I'll try to share that YouTube link in the description as well, so you guys can go through that. Right. So after done with my vaccination. So one important thing the doctor told me is that this is your first dose, and the second dose will be given after 3 months or so. So I'll get a communication for the second dose, and then I have to again follow the same process and take an appointment. But taking a vaccination doesn't mean that you are completely immune. The vaccination is supposed to raise your immunity. You got vaccinated doesn't mean that you can just be careless, right? You have to follow all the safety measures that you were following before you were vaccinated, that is wearing the mask, sanitizing your hands, being careful about not touching the public places and other things. So you have to follow all those things irrespective of you are vaccinated or not, because wearing the mask mainly is important, because though you are vaccinated, the others whom you are talking to in public, they might not be vaccinated, so you might spread the virus as well. So wearing a mask is important though you are vaccinated, right? So that is one important thing the doctor said. Okay, so after vaccination I was worried about you will have that in mind, right? Because people have told like after vaccination you will get fever, body aches and other things. So I was just waiting for something like that to happen, but in my case, by God's grace, nothing of such that sort. I mean, I'm like I waited for 2 days to film this video, so I am completely okay. No fever, no body aches. Just that I had a light pain in the arm where they gave the injection, but other than that, completely okay. So that's the usual pain that you get when you get injected, right? That's it. So the vaccination is given on either. So they will ask, do you want in your left arm or your right arm? So I said like go with the left arm because you have to you need your right hand for eating food, right? So so I said go with the left arm. And one other thing, when you go for vaccination, you have to wear, it's better to wear short sleeve shirt because it will make it easier for them to inject it, right? Otherwise you'll have to take out the whole shirt. So like I said, it's been 2 days now. I'm completely okay, no issues at all, and I'm happy that I got vaccinated, and I'm happy that I got Pfizer vaccine. Right now, the next I'll have to wait for I think 2 or 3 months before I get the second dose. Okay then guys, that's it for this video. I hope this video is again useful for you guys. So like I said, I am at the Riverside Park, and I'm staying a hotel next to the Riverside Park, which is called the Sandman Signature. I will cover why I moved from the apartment and why I'm staying in this hotel right now, right, in the next video. So stay tuned for that. For now, if you like this video, do click that icon like button, and do share and subscribe so that you will get notified on the new videos, right? Take care guys, bye.